you for checking out Trent Roman Golf. I'm coming at you today. Titleist Vokey just released their new SM10 wedges, and I've got a 60, 56, and 52 degree lofted wedge. My 60 is an 08 M grind, my 56 is a 10S grind, and my 52 is an 08F grind. I am going to hit about 10 shots with each club. I'm going to compare a few of the clubs against my old SM9 wedges that are about 6 months old. They say you should replace your wedges at least around every 75 rounds of golf, and or if your grip is getting worn out, it's about time to change your wedge. The most important club in your bag. I think you'll see a lot of benefits to that in the 2024 golf season if your wedges are in that range. Again, 75 rounds. You need to look into possibly replacing that wedge. Maybe it's with an SM10. But what I'm going to look at is spin rates. I'm going to look at launch angle. I'm going to look at carry distance. I'm going to tell you a little bit about each wedge, what the differences are between the SM9, SM10, some of the technologies, how they affected my golf shots. And do a little bit of kind of my personal comparison as I can, again, compare my old SM9 wedges, about 6 months old, to brand new, straight out of the box SM10 Vokey wedges. Let's do it. All right, everybody, I just got done hitting about 10 to 15 shots with each wedge, the 60 degree, 56 degree, and then I did a little comparison. I hit some of my old 6 months old SM9 Vokey wedges and did a little comparison to the new SM10 wedges. We're going to talk a little bit about some of the technologies that are new or improved or a little bit different in the SM10 wedges. I'm going to tell you a little bit about my thoughts and how they performed for me in testing. So let's get started. What are the differences between the SM9 and SM10 wedges? The leading edge. So Vokey, in an attempt to make the transition a little more seamless from your mid irons and down into the wedges, they've kind of hardened off or squared off that leading edge in the new SM10 wedges. Playing from that square kind of address play position, they're gonna look a little more appealing, a little more gradual, and you're not gonna have as much softening of the heel and toe edges when you're looking at that club in the full swing address position. So they've squared off that face position a little bit more. CG control. Companies like Titleist, Ping have worked to, one of the things that we understand that the best wedge players in the world do is that they launch their wedges low, usually sub 30 degrees if you're talking about TrackMan numbers and launch angles. In order to do that, some of it's technique, but companies are working on a progressive CG in those higher lofted wedges, meaning they are starting to move. Let's say it's a 60-degree wedge. They are moving that center of gravity higher in the back of that wedge to help keep that flighted fuller swing wedge shot a little bit lower. It's easier to control distances that way. It's easier to control ball flight, increases spin rate, gets a little more friction on the club face. So progressive CG Vokey has continued to improve that, and you'll see that in the new SM10 wedges. That 60, that 62-degree wedge, it's going to get that CG nice and high, so you can still hit those open face shots or those distance wedge shots, and you won't see the ball just float up into the air. I like that a lot. Here's one of my favorite new additions, me personally, to the SM10. Heel biased CG. Now, they had a lot of it in the SM9, and for myself, I like to draw my wedges because it helps me keep that ball flight a little lower, but I often, for me personally, saw my wedges working a little too much left. And I'll show you a little bit of that here in my screen projection. You can see the SM9 versus the SM10 ball flight characteristics. For me, I see that wedge working a little bit too much left, or as a better player, maybe I have to accommodate more for that aggressive heel CG, meaning, let's be clear on that, the center of gravity is more towards the heel of the wedge, the toe becomes a little lighter, and the blade and the toe start to kind of release over. It's a great way to flight your wedges low, but what does it cause? For a better player, and for myself, I start to see the ball going maybe a little too much left, or maybe I have to start aiming considerably right, more right than I normally do, to really start that golf ball out right and draw it in. I can adjust to that, but I think you're getting some tour feedback on this. They've softened that CG in that heel, not quite as much of that toe closing over, and I really, really like that. I like the ball flight kind of evened out, and I started seeing the ball fly a little straighter and not quite as much turn on those wedges. And for me personally, I kind of like that. I really did notice a difference there. Groove depth. They've worked on milling the grooves. As those wedges increase in angle, you start to lose friction, right? You're just not delivering enough of the face of the club onto that golf ball, but they're able to, through precision milling, they're able to mill the grooves at particular depths and angles based on the loft of the wedge to increase that friction or improve it as your wedge lofts go higher up into the 58, 60, 62 degree wedges, to increase that friction to help you hit them nasty spinners around the green. So I like that a lot. They're getting more finely tuned with technology to get that groove depth and that consistency. Bob Vokey and the team at Vokey look at every wedge that goes out the door to make sure that the consistency in all of these characteristics, all of the technology, every wedge that hits the market is meeting specific standards. I've been to their business, I've been to their factories out in California, and they do a great job of step-by-step looking with laser technology, computer technology, human eyes. They look at every single head, shaft, grip, everything that hits the market. Before it goes out the door, it's double, triple, quadruple checked to make sure that you're getting exactly what they're promising. So I really like that. All right, what are your options? What kind of options do we have in finishes? We've got the Tour Chrome, which is what I have. I kind of like that. It can be a little reflective. It can be a little shiny on those sunny days. So you've got a few other options. You've got the Jet Black option. You've got the nickel option, and then finally the slate gray option in your Vokey SM10s. All right, let's get down to the nitty and gritty. Well, what are you going to pay for the new SM10? Stock retail price isn't going to get you at $189. I remember, I'm old, but I remember paying $75, maybe $100 for a wedge. Everything, you know, it's inflation. I feel like the club market has inflated pretty quickly. You're gonna pay money for those double, triple, quadruple checks. It's just what you're gonna get. You have to pay more for that technology. Things cost more. The product costs more, the materials cost more. So $189 for that Vokey wedge. Yes, it is up. It wasn't too recently. The SM8, SM9, $159, $169. So a $20 to $30 raise. Yes, it's steep, and I wish it wasn't. But that's what, you know, that's what the market gets. That is pretty close to what your retailers are going to pay for that product, and they're just going to pass that expense on to the golfer. And yeah, there we go. There is an option for some old SM9s or older. They'll still be new, but they'll sell those for about $150. So if you're looking for a little less expensive product but still a really good wedge, SM9 was a fantastic wedge. Again, what we will talk about here in a second is when should you replace your wedges and why you should replace your wedges. But we've got some character stampings. I like to customize my wedges. Put your dog's name, your wife's name, whatever you want. You could put different characters. They have a lot of different options, color schemes, and designs for that. You can mix and match the logos. You can paint fill different colors with the loft and the grind and all the letters and numbers that are on your wedge. You can change those up, and that's pretty cool. Yeah, so that's a little information. They do hit retail stores February 15th, so a couple weeks from now, you should be seeing those SM10s in your local golf shop. Finally, like I said, we would touch on how often should you replace those wedges. You will see, and I'll show that again, in product testing. So I hit my SM9 wedge, which is about 6 months old. I play once or twice a week, so they're pretty new. And then you'll see the comparison in spin rate numbers, and I will see 500 to 1,000 less spin on a 6-month-old wedge in comparison to a brand new wedge. So when should you replace your wedges? Every 75 rounds. Or if you're thinking about replacing the grip, I kind of laugh at that because I see some grips that come through our golf shop and they are like the hood of my car. They are so slippery. So that one doesn't always work, but I really encourage you, if you're not seeing that biting spin around the greens, I would check the age or how long you've been playing that wedge for and the ball. Those are the two things that really dictate a lot of the friction that you'll see when you hit a wedge, and that spin. You want that nasty biting spin, you're gonna have to pay for it. You're gonna have to pay $189 for it or something in that number, but I think you'll enjoy it. Those are the clubs that if you are in the market for a new club this year, drivers always claim that they're gonna be 5 to 10 yards further. True or not, I would first look at your wedges. I think your short game, yeah, it'd be great to hit another 5 or 10 yards, but your short game will benefit more. Your scores will benefit more from hitting those nasty spinners around the green, getting that bite, getting those 7 to 15 yard chips and pitches in there closer, and also hitting those wedges a little more flighted with a little bit more spin. So take a look at the age of your wedges. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you learned a few things about the new Vokey SM10 wedges. If you have any comments or any questions, make sure you hit that comment button below. And if you're not a subscriber, make sure you hit that subscribe button. We're coming at you with weekly content. We've got course reviews, we've got drills, golf instruction, we've got club reviews, and just anything, if you are a golf nerd like us, that you might enjoy. So thank you again for watching. See you next time.